And Leena, maybe I'll pose this question to you. Shareholder equity. I'll just stop there and say, what do you think about it? And how do you advise the people that you talk to and some of the stuff that you do on a daily basis when it comes to thinking about that balance and driving that balance through? What goes through your mind, Leena?
Yeah, thank you. It's an amazing question. So Symbaiosys is a mission-driven business, a mission, not emissions. And in a way, the pandemic, or the silver lining of the pandemic for me, is that suddenly companies and governments really started to understand that this was a dress rehearsal for climate change. And one question that I love to ask boards is, if 5 years ago you knew with absolute certainty that the pandemic was coming, what would you have done differently? How would you have prepared? How would you have minimized your risks? How would you have leveraged possible opportunities? And the thing is, today, institutions have that foresight. The climate science is in our hands. We know the implications of a world that goes through a more than 1.5 degree temperature rise. And so we're able to make those decisions and have that foresight. Because not only will the implications be a disruption to business as usual, but it'll threaten the livability of this planet and our own survival as a human species. And I don't mean to sound so doom and gloom. I am an optimist. So I find that it's helpful to actually now reframe the way we relate to the natural world. So if nature were a tech startup, it would be worth more than all the unicorns combined. And in fact, the value of natural capital is worth double the human industrial economy. So the value of natural capital is upwards of $140 trillion, meaning if humans were to try and replicate all the things that nature gives us for free that we take for granted, like fresh water and pollination and storm protection and cooling, it would cost us $140 trillion or more to replicate that. Half of the world's GDP is either moderately or highly dependent on nature and therefore exposed to risks from nature loss. So really, if you reframe that, nature is our biggest social and economic partner. And for that partnership to endure, we need to have a fair trade agreement with nature. So if we think of, I'm not sure if it was Tony, but someone mentioned that ESG is going to be the top 10 sectors. Yeah. So global ESG assets under management by 2025 are going to reach $53 trillion. That's roughly a third of global assets under management. So there is a massive opportunity here to unlock shareholder value creation. And if I may as well, the good news is that investing in nature can give us that win-win. So investing in nature can generate market rate returns, things like sustainable forestry, regenerative agriculture, sea kelp forests, sustainable fisheries. These are things that generate returns from multiple revenue streams, not just carbon credits. Although those who are interested in carbon, actually the value of nature-based offsets is worth 4 times more than tech-based offsets. And it restores biodiversity, and it protects assets from physical climate risks. Mangroves act as a storm wall. So if you have physical assets at risk of sea level rise, tsunamis, coastal flooding, hurricanes, wetlands support a fire-resistant moss that stops the spread of wildfires, and forests even divert certain earthquake waves from the Earth's surface and reduce the impact by the time it reaches urban areas. So for me, this shareholder value creation notion, it's really a no-brainer, because the options are invest now and capitalize on this win-win, or don't invest and pay later.
There's an element to that is not just dollar-based, right? And it's very important that we keep in mind that our long-term sustainability is based on that.